cryptic desert beetle. These desert beetles are nasty, and it's fantastic. I hope I don't have to explain too much about what that means, but for those who are just waking up, i.e. me, copulation is the act of engaging in sexual intercourse for the purpose of reproduction. The prefix pre just means before. So that means that oral sex before doing the deed plays an important role in the act, working or not, in this species of beetle. These are the authors. This is, I should mention that this is a Chinese desert beetle. That is why the majority of the authors listed here are, in fact, Chinese names, and the institutions are centered in China. So, yep, science. Oral fixation is one way of putting it. Anyway, let's get into it. Start with the abstract. Precopulatory courtship plays an essential role in the insemination process and influences postcopulatory behavior between males and females. This is not specifying the beetles, but I'm going to assume that they mean for the beetles and not just for anyone. But, you know, if anyone out there needs bedroom tips from scientists, this sentence here says you should pay attention to foreplay. You know, I'm not telling you what to do, but these scientists sure are. It goes on, male precopulatory oral stimulation of the female genitals is rare for invertebrates. And then here we describe an intriguing oral sexual courtship and a cryptic desert beetle. And then this is the species, Platyope mongolica, I guess. Falderman. I have never seen this. Is the common name Falderman? I don't know. Moving on. The males, they are eating that betussi. Yep. The males repeatedly contact the female's genitals using their mouths to gain consent to mate. Furthermore, the rate at which males contact the female's genitals relates to the copulation success in a series of observations. However, interference in oral sexual contacts, which is described later in the paper, and it's the reason why I wanted to bring it up today, because they got creative. These scientists got creative. I do have to read the bullshit out loud. Sorry. However, interference in oral sexual contacts decreased the proportion of sexual copulation, successful copulation, sorry. Further, no choice tests found homosexual behavior between males with antenna removed. Great. So the males with their antennae removed started acting all gay. Cool. We report the precopulatory oral sexual behavior and its important role for copulation success in P. mongolica for the first time. These findings highlight the significance of oral sexual courtship in sexual selection. Yeah. So if they have antennae, they're straight. I'm going to trim a lot of the introduction section here, but some of it is really interesting because this goes into the history of looking at sexual reproduction in different invertebrate species and even some oral sexual stimulation that goes in other species that aren't invertebrates. So meeting courtship is a common but important pre-copulatory behavior to attain female consent to copulate. And then these are the papers. Diverse forms of courtship exist in the animal realm, such as vocalization, ritualized movements, shuttle display, and dive display. Same papers again. These courtships are believed to play an essential role in copulation, as well as post-copulatory behavior. Yes, post-copulatory self-sucking. That's great. Although another author indicated sexual contact, e.g. touching the female genital area, occurs among insects, from this paper, oral sexual contact occurs infrequently in the animal kingdom. So a related behavior known as post-copulatory self-sucking, I love the phrasing of that, excuse me, received more attention in the past due to its evolutionary importance in sexual selection. The literature reports that this conduct in Turbellaria, flatworms, and mammals. So these are two insects. Flatworms are a kind of neat species of insect. I remember in my high school biology days that one of the things we did with a species of flatworms was that you could bisect these flatworms at a certain point in their anatomy, usually like at the midline between the top and tail. You could cut them cleanly with a scalpel, and the two halves would form completely new independent animals. Well, the head part would just regrow the tail, but the tail part would grow an entirely new head. So flatworms are pretty cool. However, this behavior is self-oral and happens after copulation. I don't know if I have to explain that to anyone, what they are talking about with self-sucking post-copulatory. It seems like most of you are getting what they're putting down. I think it's safe to say that I haven't had any partners who have engaged in that before my eyes. It marks a distinct diversion from pre-copulatory oral sexual behavior. Yeah, one is after the act and one is before. And the other is before. It's when they suck their own dick, Linda, yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Others have reported fellatio-like activities in many mammalian animals, such as bats, macaques, cheetahs, lemurs, hyenas, lions, dolphins, and bonobos. And then these are the two papers that outline those, or have found those. The interesting one to me is cheetahs, because we all know, or maybe we don't all know, but we should know, that cats have very rough tongues. And in fact, the larger species of cats have backward-facing barbs on their tongues. So there is genital stimulation with the mouth, and that is either their very tiny, almost not their lips, their teeth, which are sharp and for grabbing prey, or their tongues, which are barbed. I do not know, Dove, and I do not want to find out. However, I'm sure Cold Stare or his husband would know. Chapomon, I think, would definitely know, but I don't know how much cross-contamination there is in that household. Sure wouldn't? Okay, so that is exclusively Chapomon's domain. Got it. Yeah, descriptions of pre-copulatory oral sexual behavior in invertebrates remains rare. No one has, that's a fair description, Dove. It's cross-contamination. I don't know. I'm a microbiologist. That is the first thing that came to my mind. Anyway, there is a species of spider called Darwin's bark spider, C. darwini, Latrodectus, and Drosophila. Drosophila is actually the fruit fly. And the Drosophila melanogaster is the exact word, model organism. That's the exact word, the phrasing. They are great for studying because their successive generations are quite short. You know, you get dozens of generations in a month, and they respond really well to genotypic changes on the phenotypic level. So you can see what you're doing really well in fruit flies. You were just looking at the wrong spiders, Dove. That's all I can say. You should have gone for Darwin. That seems like a you problem, I think. Yeah, general overview. And here we'll cut down to talking about the beetle that we are looking at today in this paper. P. mongolica is a darkling beetle that typically inhabits deserts and serves as an indicator species for desertification. Indicator species is a species that first crops up or does better in certain environments when those environmental conditions are met. In this case, it is desertification. So that'll be the drying out. That'll be replacing the top layer humus and detritus and soil with sand or coarse rocks. That is the removal of large trees, big green foliage, that kind of thing. That's what desertification is. Becoming a desert. So its distribution and occurrence mirror that of the plant community, declining or increasing in tandem with the temperate semi-arid plants such as A. orodosica, rash, and C. sclerosa. It is an important ecological indicator of land type succession and environmental protection. Previous studies have reported its biology, systematics, and distribution, because again, this is apparently a species of beetle that are indicative of a changing landscape. So these papers that are noting its distribution and its biology, they are outlining the draw of this species to different landscapes and what the species' presence in those landscapes means, perhaps long-term and short-term, for the environment that they are looking at. Nevertheless, no other information documents its sexual behavior to date. It could be, based on the name Mongolica. Nevertheless, we found highly frequent and conspicuous sexual behavior in P. mongolica during the mating season. Males followed close behind active females and fought competitors. Furthermore, P. mongolica engages a remarkable oral sexual courtship before copulation. However, the function and evolutionary significance of this behavior remain unknown. They are elucidated in this paper, whether you like it or not, and whether or not this behavior is an essential stage for the success of copulation in this species is unclear. It's made pretty clear in this paper. The study endeavored to uncover the understudied oral sexual behavior within this species. Findings of this study serve to make substantial contribution to sexual selection and evolution. Yeah, it's interesting dinner conversations. I think it would be something along the lines of what people say when they are a YouTuber. You know, I make films. Oh, I'm a scientist. Oh, what do you study? You know, I'm an entomologist, so it's mostly bugs, stuff like that. I like studying, you know, certain species in China and in the deserts of Mongolia. You know, pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool. Please don't ask me any more questions. So, we recorded the insect traits and mating behaviors with a Canon 600D camera. So this is very important to know what type of Canon camera they're using. We also conducted anatomic imaging of the female's epigynem? Epigonum? Take your pick. Using the OEM Image Analysis System MD500. OEM is original equipment manufacturer, and Image Analysis System is the software used by the camera. We chose females under two scenarios to carry out our dissection. First, female individuals without sexual contact or mating. This they have called S1. And then epigynem, maybe, you know. Then female individuals after oral sexual contact and exposed to several unsuccessful copulation attempts. Great. S2. We dissected and recorded the female's genital structures under these two scenarios. And then this is where they left their specimens for study. This is in China. Our experiments. The mating duration started in early May, according to their natural mating procedures. We described the mating in 4 steps: males pursuing females, following, oral sexual contact, mounting, and copulation. We're getting real spicy here, folks, so buckle up. Oral sexual contact accounts for the male's first physical contact of the female's genitals until mounting. Mounting includes the male's attempt to climb onto the back of females until the successful insertion of its penis. Copulation accounts for male's first insertion of its penis into the female body until the removal. We started observing and collecting individuals during daylight at 0900 when they emerged to mate. We collected male and female individuals that were searching for or waiting for mating partners. Females displayed their abdominal terminus upward to show interest in sexual activity. They dropped it low, folks. They dropped it low. After collection, we determined whether mating behavior or whether mating occurred based on 2 lines of evidence: physical traits and behavioral attempts. They looked for the semen trails. In terms of physical evidence, we microscopically checked for male penis and female genitals to see whether they remained in the vaginal cavity. Great. In terms of behavioral evidence, males showed no interest in females after they successfully mated. They're done with you. They want to get on with their lives. Once females successfully mated, they continued fleeing when males pursued, and females showed resistance to mating. Very good. No, Frank, I've already fucked your brother. We're done here. Thus, we had confidence that our collections involved only sexually active specimens. We put 1 unmated male and 1 unmated female on sandy ground enclosed by 1.5 by 2 by 0.1 meter barrier under our camera surveillance. We recorded the mating process for each pair for 6 hours using the cameras. Mating usually started with the male following the female until she stopped walking and or waited for the male. Thus, we did not count the following stage into the total mating duration. Okay. So, they skipped the dating part. Very good. We counted the frequency. It was like an hour. You know, these beetles got stamina. What can I say? We counted the frequency and timed the duration for each single event in terms of seconds of oral sexual contact, mounting, and copulation. Accordingly, we divided the complete mating behavior into durations. They have denoted as TB of oral sexual contact, mounting, and copulation. In total, we recorded 38 valid observations. They watched so many beetles fucking. I can't imagine the lab meeting conversations they had. But boy, would I like to be a fly on the wall. Not a beetle in the pen, but a fly on the wall. We started recording each event. Hello, Kjen. Thank you for doing the clips. Oh, here we've got juicy pictures, folks. Avert your eyes. Avert your eyes. I don't have a blurring, so we can... I'm sorry. I don't have that technology. The first physical contact until the termination of final contact. We checked our video records for each mating event after witnessing all the observations in real time. We then reported frequencies, blah, 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 blah. All our observations were conducted on sunny days when mating behaviors would naturally occur. Okay. So, this section here, 2.4, the interference and male manipulations are like where I lost my mind when I first read this paper. It is both genius and just insane what they did to test their hypotheses. Yes, mating interference and male manipulations. So, I want to go line by line with this one because it is such an incredible section. We hypothesize that oral sexual contact plays an important role in successful copulation. You know, it's not often, I think, that you find species of beetles or insects, for that matter, based on what they said in the introduction, that engage in any kind of oral pre-copulatory. They don't do head, okay? Insects, they aren't known for giving the head. They're like DJ Khaled in that sense. The men are less masculine, therefore. So, when you find a species that seemingly engages in this, and based on, look at this picture here. Try to, this one here, where they're following behind, the male is following behind the female, and putting that head up in her snoot. Yeah, you don't see that a lot, so. The hypothesis, I think, is very sound and one that seems rather obvious. Some real not safe for work content. I'm very sorry. Do not watch Twitch at work, folks. To find more evidence about this behavior in sexual selection and to make clear which parts of the male touch the female genitals, we compared the mating behaviors of P. mongolica among different experimental manipulations. We observed that the males use their maxillary palpi specifically to rub the female's genitals. This is the frontmost pair of little grabby hands that are around the mouth parts and pull stuff into their mouth parts for which to chew. So this is as close to a tongue over the vulva that you can get. They are definitely eating the box. We collected males and females as described above. We imposed 4 treatments. Oh boy. We imposed 4 treatments within these mating trials. In treatment 1, we removed the male's antennae, but kept the females intact. In treatment 2, we removed only the maxillary palpi of males and the females remained intact. We coated the females' tails with petroleum jelly in treatment 3 and kept the males intact. I had a loss for words. It's genius what they thought of, but at the same time, totally fucking insane. We set the normal females without any interference as the control group. So the good, they have controls where they didn't futz around with these poor beetles. Because the mouth of this insect does not protrude, removing the lips and whole mouth would inflict serious physical damage. So we'll just stick to removing their antennae. Therefore, we did not remove other parts of the mouth. Great. Treatments 1 and 2 would determine which part of the males touch the female genitals, if there are any significant difference in mating behaviors when compared to treatment 0, the control, and 3, which is the petroleum jelly. They rubbed Vaseline on the Beetle. Yeah, that's great, Ash. Gunk up that Beetle with some jelly. Yeah, they rubbed Vaseline over the rears. They gave these poor beetles a chastity belt made of Vaseline. Therefore, treatment 3 would infer the function of oral contact when compared to treatments 1 and 2. We put one female individual and one male individual into a transparent plastic bowl. Thanks for the diameters, I guess. Each filled with 2 centimeters of sand at the bottom. Make them feel like home. Did you put some rose petals in, too? Individuals reluctant to mate for more than an hour after another individual had touched it were replaced. No sloppy seconds for these guys. Each treatment had 5 replicates. 10 individuals, 5 males, and 5 females. Yep, that's how math works. In total, we made 20 valid pair mating trials. Okay, we checked the number of individuals that successfully copulated after they finished mating. We dissected the bodies of all mated individuals after finishing the experiments. So they didn't even... Happy ending? Not here. We're going to cut you up. Males usually left the spermatophore in females' bodies if the copulation completed successfully. Yeah, they spunked in there. That's successful, I guess. We also observed male-to-male touches during field observations to ensure mating attempts were not by accident. Mating attempts by accident. It's like that. It's like those old like stop rape commercials where it's just some cartoonishly preposterous situation. You know, some dude running by on roller skates and his pants falls down, and a woman's bending over her car to retrieve something from the back seat, and there's like, oops. Yeah, I slipped and my dick fell in. That's exactly right. That's what they're saying here, you know. Accidental. Okay. Right, males, blah, 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 by accident, right. We also performed the same treatments as the previous 4 treatments, but using only males. That's a strange one. They rubbed Vaseline on some poor male's ass. Tripped and fell right onto a dick. We recorded all the processes of mating pairs during the investigation. We recorded the frequency and duration of oral sexual contact. I imagine it's with like a stopwatch, right? So they're just watching like a live feed of Pornhub for beetles, and they've got a little stopwatch. I don't want to know the website address of that campsite, but if it's included in this paper, it would be due diligence. Of oral sexual contact, mounting duration, all of these things, stopwatch, click, click, click all the time, and copulation duration, following the same procedure as described above. Statistical analysis, all of this is math stuff that is boring. I don't want to get into it. This is fantastic. This is just a cartoon drawing with the level of... Yeah. I'm glad I'm on the right page, Dove. This is cartoon drawing of the skill that I would expect from scientists. Not to say anything about us, but we are not artists, usually. So this is... They saw 24.1 second average for oral sex, 16 seconds for mountings, and then 105.78 seconds for the humpity hump. And then these bar charts are actually kind of interesting because it shows you the frequency at which this is happening. So the oral sexual contact is happening at a much greater frequency than copulation. And as we can go back to this chart up here, whenever there's insertion success, that goes to copulation. But if there's a failure, it restarts back at oral sexual contact. And the reason for that is really interesting. And for that, we'd have to go back up here, unfortunately, to these very not safe for work images. So in C, this is the epigynum, the female vagina. Sort of. Beetles are weird. Anyway, C shows what they looked like before oral stimulation, and D looks like what happens after. And I think it's pretty clear to see that can I just no oh, or can I oops, I fucked up. Don't steal my signature, chat. Nope. Nah. Oh well. Or no. Whatever. Oh, I can... Here. No sexual contact. Ate the box. So as we can see, when the box is not eaten, it is tight. It is dry. It makes Ben Shapiro happy. When the box has been eaten, it is busted open wide. It is wet. It is sopping. And don't take my word for it. This is science, all right? This is science. Don't blame me for being lewd. I'm just reading the data as it's presented. The unfortunate bit about this, of course, is that even though the oral sexual contact is happening a lot, it is for a drastically short amount of time. There is apparently at least one fucking champion who is going for at least a whole minute. But as you can see, the majority of it is happening in the 20 to 40 second area. And it is about the same time as the mounting. However, the humpity humps do last for quite some time. So hopefully the females are getting enough there. I don't know if there's like female orgasm in beetles. I'd be very sad if there wasn't. I don't think this paper talks about it. Great. So this is going back to, this is the results section. This is going back to the basic biology of the beetle who are freaky, saying they possess chewing mouthparts and they feed on plant leaves. Interesting for a desert species. The mouthparts project down, so they're pointed down, lack mandibles and galliae, those are words, but contain short, feeler-like palps attached to the maxillae. Why are there so many? I am not this clippable. I object on all accounts. Its maxillary and labial palpae function both in feeding behavior by bringing food into the mouth and sexual behavior by stimulating the female's genitals. Sexual encounters start with the female waiting for pursuant males. I don't know. I'm not even going to click on them. You degenerates don't deserve it. Excuse me, it is Wednesday. Right? It is Wednesday, my dudes. Females usually stop moving and prostrate their heads as they extend their abdominal terminus higher to submit to mating. They put their head down and ass up. Nothing more to say there. Isn't that how everyone does it? Males search and pursue females until the females stop moving. It is hump day. It's appropriate. I picked the right paper, I think. The remarkable courtship before copulation is that males repeatedly rub their maxillary palpi on the female's genitals before an attempt to copulate. Figure 1A. That is the figure from above in the very not safe for work section, where you can see one male standing and just eating that booty like groceries. However, if the female is not satisfied with the male's performance, the female usually runs away. You know, that's good. These beetles, they're not subtle. They tell it to you like it is. If you suck at giving head, they will run away. In that case, the male continues pursuit. Just like humans, men do not know how to give up and cannot take a hint. Continuous pursuit and genital rubbing until another attempt to copulate. This procedure repeats until the male successfully inserts his penis or the female rejects the copulation. Figure 1B. That 1B being the humpity hump picture. Just rewind the VOD. I don't care. I'm not going back up to please you people. I'm not letting you get your rocks off to lewd images of beetles. Anatomic imaging shows the female's short pair of genital plates with eye-like anterior margins. Notably, the vulva is narrow and anterior copulatory duct is long. Figures 1C and D. That is, I assume, the clips that were taken of me very rudely. Notably, the vulva is narrow. The this thing are inward turned, and the vulva is closed before copulation without any sexual contacts. So that is literally it is contracted and closed to attempts for mating. However, the things are outward turned and the vulva opens up after the oral sexual contact. Figure 1D. That is when it is busted open. The normal status of sharp genital plates with narrow vulva likely results in low possibility of unexpected insertion. In contrast, the opening things likely make the insertion easier. I don't know how underplayed they wanted to be there, but that is extremely understated. You can see them in the pictures, these do not look like when before oral contact is made, these do not look like you could get anything in there. These are like spikes. These are traps that are closed. You shall not pass type deal. You are not getting in there without these first being opened by the female. It is like beyond obvious, I think, just seeing the pictures, that yes, opening these structures makes insertion easier. Obviously. The old bear trap doesn't open for nothing. That's right. You must lick that betussie before you can get that bear trap open. Oh, it's okay. Okay. Here's the data from all of their weird, kinky chastity play that they did on these beetles. The control groups had higher copulation duration, as noted here. The error bars are great, though. Those are massive, especially in this one. Look at that. Like, there was a beetle who was totally blind, did not have his antennae, but still managed to fuck to completion. And that one is a hero. That's all I'll say. Proportion of successful copulations. So, in all of the control groups, 100% were successful. Versus the blinded beetle having only around a fifth of all the members, or maybe a fourth, of all the members being able to successfully get the deed on. Maybe 15%, I'm guessing, of the beetles who had their mouth parts removed. Not their mouth parts, but their mouth feet. Beetles are weird. And astonishingly, when you rub Vaseline on the females, almost nothing happens. But this is not zero. This is not zero. So they looked at, what was it, like 20 pairs of beetles, and of them, at least a small proportion were able to get it in. That is one strong beetle penis. No, I think in this, K-Gen, you are on the right track. In this instance, the beetles are less weird than the scientists doing these weird kinks experiments. Maybe. No, you're probably right. The scientists are fucking bizarre here. So this is all math relating to the humpity humps, the mating interference. Great. What were their findings related to this? To make clear which parts of the males touch the female genitals, we compared the mating behaviors of the beetles among different experimental manipulations. This is blinded, the removal of the antennae, the removal of the mouth parts, and the petroleum jelly chastity belts. Results showed the copulation duration significantly decreased after the removal of the maxillary palpi. Yeah, that's a good confidence value. You want as close to 0 as possible, I think. And then this is the number of repeats, so they looked at 27 instances. Coating of the females' tails with petroleum jellies. Again, same confidence interval and number of repeats. Removal of the male's antennae did not decrease copulation duration with females. It's much lower. As we can see with this error bar up here, it's massive. This error bar is larger than the data set. Like, wow. And for anyone who doesn't know what that means, an error bar is a way of showing the extremes within a set of data points. So this is showing that the error bar is going up to the top of the range, and then the average is found in here where the shaded area of the graph is. So as I was alluding to, there is one blind male who was completely undeterred, I think. Maybe he even liked being blindfolded. I don't know. You'll have to ask him. But you can't, because he was dissected after this experiment. Of course. Sorry. He's dead. Rest in peace. F's in chat. Interestingly, the attempted same-sex behavior occurred among males missing antennae in 80% of the trials. Trials? I think this might be a typo. Under the same condition, but with T1, but using only males. So males who were blinded, 80% of the time, were not above doing the sex, at least the oral parts, to their fellow bros. I'm in the same boat. Moving on. Indicating their role in identifying partners. These results... It is just a bro job. These results support our observation that the male rubs the female's genitals using their mouth parts, mainly maxillary palpi, as there are no protrusive lips or other galliae in this species. So they don't have tongues. Meanwhile, differences in copulation duration between T0, 1, 2, and 3 indicates the prevention of oral sexual contact leads to a significant interference in copulation, which could potentially lead to an increase in the rate of copulation failure. That this figure 3b. Yeah, so this is the successful copulation. As we can see, with any interference, really, you don't have successful insemination, successful copulation behaviors. Yeah, so this species not only asks for their box to be eaten, they demand it. That's why I'm saying, you know, these beetles are way more manly than DJ Khaled ever could hope to be. You know, if the females don't get their box eat, then they don't even let the PP in. You know, their Vagu, their Batussi is a doorman demanding a password, and that password is cunnilingus. Further analysis showed the relationship between oral sexual contact and copulatory success. Investment in duration of oral contact shortened copulation duration. Okay, so this is saying that if they spent longer eating the box, then they had to humpity hump less. Okay. We also found that copulation frequency correlated positively with the frequency of oral sexual contact from manipulation experiments. Yeah, so if they got their box eaten, they were more susceptible to copulation attempts. Consistently, mounting duration also decreased linearly with the increase in duration of oral sexual contact. Again, that is going back to the images of these like almost gate-like or door-like structures in front of the female's genitals that basically prohibit entry, and with the oral stimulation that they got, were more likely to open up. So that's entirely consistent with their with their findings. It is worth noting that increasing oral sexual contact is correlated with increased copulation attempts, but also a decrease in copulation duration. The shorter a male spends on oral sexual contact, the longer a male spends on copulation attempts, and the more likely it is to be unsuccessful. Too many good quotes. Thank you, Dove. I think that's good for my numbers. I'm not sure how Twitch works. It's just, yeah. So if the male, the shorter a male spends on sexual contact orally, the longer a male spends on copulation attempts. So this oral stimulation by the male is making them more horny, and they're more desperate to get in. But because they're making more attempts, the more likely it is to be unsuccessful, just by sheer law of numbers. I'm glad someone is. This is much better than last week when I kept having to rein in the class because they were getting wild. Right, this is like sheer numbers. The more you attempt to do something, the more you are not going to have success. Because once success is done, it is one and done. But the males spending more time on the oral side leads to the females being more receptive to the copulation happening. I think the males know this, and so like it is almost like they are doing a fetch quest in a video game to get a reward without really being invested in the story that's going on. I guess tell me if my analogies are working, because I don't feel like they're working, but I just woke up. Previous studies reported interesting post-copulatory self-oral sexual contacts in the marine turbellarian, and then it is Macrostomum lignano. That's a species of turbellarian. I'm not a zoologist. I am. You put me in front of E. coli, I'm much more in my element. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I don't care how that sounds. I'm a microbiologist. This graph says it all. Copulation duration without oral sexual contact is just way too fucking long. And when they get their box eaten, it is just in and out. Easy as. These beetles, we could learn a thing or two. Oh, thanks, Ash. Right, and again, this is like as I was saying, the males, they know that the oral contact will lead to the sex with the PP and the vagoo, but they don't know how they connect. It's much like humans, I think. I don't have a lot of experience with the ladies, but I assume that's how it works. With the males, the more they engage with eating the box, the more they try to do the humpity humps. The mounting duration. This is all over the place. Look at these points. I mean, oh geez, this line is trying its best, but I don't think it's getting there. Wow, those data points are all over the place. Sorry, totally distracted by the graph. Mounting duration, right. You can have kids without making the female orgasm. Yes, Ben Shapiro is evidence of this. I don't know if... I guess we'll have to see how Ben Shapiro's kids grow up and to see if they're just like totally fucked up in the future, which I assume they'll be. Totally unfounded in me. I'm very sorry to Ben Shapiro's children. I am sure you're getting the best you can. I'm just sorry. Paternity tested and everything. Oh gosh. Wait, is that for real, Ash? Did Ben Shapiro honestly paternity test his kids? I could totally believe that would be a meme. That is the case. Ben Shapiro had his kids paternity tested. What an absolute beta male. What a... Oh man. That is something to brag about if you are like a 4chan dwelling incel. Like that is not a highlight of your life. Yes, I have children. I know they're mine because I had their DNA tested. Like that is beyond sad. Oh man, I can't. Yeah. Jesus. His poor wife in that too. Jeez. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, more graphs. Where is this coming from? It is from here. Yeah. So that's paper. The worm places its pharynx over its own female genital opening and appears to apply suction. Have you ever read a sentence and then just immediately regretted it and wished it had never happened? I'm in that state right now. Although it was proposed that this post-copulatory behavior may be an adaptation to manipulate sperm or secretions received during copulation, whether pre-copulatory... Oh, God. All the time when I have Ayn Rand out, yeah. This is not getting worse. This is just gross. Whether pre-copulatory or oral sexual contacts between different sexes can contribute to copulatory success remains unclear and rarely tested. Well, I'm glad you guys have done it because you have demonstrated beyond, I think, a shadow of a doubt that in this case, this nasty species of beetles demand that they Betussi be eaten before they can get the humpity humps. Therefore, it is crucial to investigate the evolution of this trait. I don't know if it's crucial, but I'm glad you guys did it. God bless. In this study, we reported an oral sexual behavior correlated with increased copulatory success in this species of beetle. You sure have, and we're all better for it. Courtship consists of a series of steps. We've gone over that. There's the chase and the oral mounting. Yeah. Each step is important, and often the individuals cannot move to the next step until the previous step has been correctly performed. If a male does not have a good performance in a certain step and moves too quickly to the next step, it most likely will need to return to a previous step again. You know, good on those girl beetles. They are girl bosses and demand that it be done right. Therefore, each step is crucial, and each must be accomplished to successfully reach the end, which is sperm transfer. We observed that copulation accounted for the longest average time during mating. Sure did. However, achieving copulation is not easy in this species. On average, one copulation, successful insertion, gross, usually required at least as much time or more than that invested in oral sexual contacts. Good on them. The data showed 5 experiences in oral... 5 experiences, huh? In oral sexual contact after 4 unsuccessful copulation attempts before the successful insertion. So for every 1 pee-pee in Vagoo, there were 5 times the box was eaten. Okay. Our evidence showed that sharp genital plates and narrow vulva in this species prevent the probability of, oh god, smooth insertion, absent of proper oral sexual stimulation. Ugh, gross. Investment in oral sexual contact promotes... I'm just moving on. A study reported a similar behavior in this species, which is in the same family. Oh, interesting. As P. mongolica. However, this behavior was described as the male rubs the female's tail using antennae and head. Oh, so I see this paper from 2003 was nowhere near explicit enough for these wackos. And they were like, no, there's more to investigate there. They are definitely doing something freaky. Quite different from our observations. I don't know if it's quite different. I think it's just less explicit. To clarify which male parts touch the female genitals, yes, they did the weird kink shit. Our results showed that the male rubs the female's genitals using their maxillary palpi. This is an interesting find and clarification of the oral sexual behavior in this species. Nevertheless, our study also showed that the beetle's antennae play a role in identifying mating partners. Antennae are like sensory organs, so they are literally telling the brain what is going on in the world. That's why I use the blindfold analogy or metaphor, because I think it is apt here. The antennae contain a large number of chemical receptors that enables insects to detect mating partners via pheromones, look for foods, and find through volatile compounds. Even though removing the male's antennae did not decrease the copulation duration between different sexes, males attempted same-sex behaviors when they were put together. I think the scientists had to have known this, and that's why they put the males together in that one experimental condition alone. Like, they blindfolded 2 horny males and put them alone in a dark room together, and we're like, haha, gay. Even though, previous studies have found that the sex pheromone receptor in the antennae of a male is the minimally sufficient determination factor that triggers initiation of orientation behavior toward a potential mate. Okay. In agreement with these reports, our study suggests that the antennae fulfill a common fundamental role in enabling insects to identify a mating partner of the opposite sex in sexual behavior. Yeah. Oral sexual behaviors, in particular cunnilingus-like behaviors, are still rarely studied. Wonder why. A most recent case about the oral sexual contact / encounter is, again, here we go back to this Darwin's bark spider, C. darwini, whose copulation involves a series of extreme sexual behaviors, such as sexual cannibalism, genital mutilation, male preference for teneral females, and emasculation. That sounds like a fucking time, chat. I don't know if you guys want me to read that at some other point, but my god, I did not read this section before, and holy shit, that sounds like a time. And remarkably, the oral sexual encounters, great. Extreme femdom spiders and a sex dungeon. Correct. Yes, on both accounts. That is, wow. I'm surprised that species of spider hasn't done a fucking kink.com video yet. However, testing the function of oral sexual contact in Darwin's bark spider seems to be impossible because this behavior not only happens before copulation, but also in between bouts and after copulation. Wow. Cool. They're just horny for everything and all the time. Another case of this similar behavior was documented in the fruit fly in 1974. Great. So this goes back a while, at least. This behavior of scientists looking at bug sex, whose mating includes males orally stimulating female genitals before copulation. Dove, if you go through this list of kinks and go, yeah, awesome, then good. Another case of this similar behavior was documented in the fruit fly. However, it was reported that this licking behavior only induced changes in male mating speed without any effects on female sexual behavior. So when the fruit fly's box is 8, it just makes the males quicker to hump. And did not change how the females felt about it at all. Cool. I don't think there's any link there between this fruit fly and humans. I don't think there's any change whatsoever. I don't see any link. Evidence about the evolution of precopulatory oral sexual behavior in insects is still extremely lacking. I know, you guys are horny for learning about how bugs eat the box. I get it. You've said it many times. Previous studies have indicated that precopulatory mating behavior can directly increase mating success by influencing females' mate choice and mating continuity through intersexual interactions. That's a pair of words. And many citations here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 separate papers are saying that. Very good. This is a understood topic. We show that precopulatory oral sexual contact is an important courtship during mating in this species and could lead to sexual selection. It influences the success of copulation. We provide important evidence to demonstrate this role of oral sex, the role of oral sex in successful copulation, in the manipulation experiments. Yep. Directly on acts. It acts on duration. Okay, here we go. A study showed that fellatio by females who lick the male's penis, could prolong the copulation time in fruit bats. This is the first time I've learned about fruit bats who suck dick, but I have more in common with fruit bats than I thought originally. Lots of studies indicated that prolonged copulation duration in insects reflect the higher mating quality and the higher likelihood of fertilization success. Number of papers there. However, longer copulation does not always represent more benefits to a species inhabiting in dry desert and mating upon the bare sandy ground. This sentence feels like someone just exaggerating the word count. Okay. Rather, the longer a male spends on copulation attempts, the more likely it is to be unsuccessful. Therefore, investment in oral sexual contact decreases the copulatory cost, particularly for species undergoing heat stress and prey risk during mating. Okay. That makes a little more sense with the previous sentences there then. Third, mounting duration also decreases with the increase in duration in oral sexual contacts. This indicates that there is a trade-off. Investment in oral sexual contact promotes the insertion success. Great. This is all well and good. This is like the last of the findings here, so this paper is basically done. We'll just go through the last paragraph here rather than rehashing everything we've already gone through. This is the first time that precopulatory oral sexual behavior in the desert darkling beetle P. mongolica is reported. We investigated the role of this oral sexual contact in copulation. The results suggest that precopulatory oral sexual contact, an important phase of mating latency in P. mongolica, plays an important role in copulation. We confirmed that precopulatory oral sexual contact is a form of investment for successful copulation. Our study adds to a new understanding of the evolutionary significance of eating the box in insects, making substantial contributions to sexual selection and evolution. That was a great time. And here are all of the citations and a blank page.